everybody, Orange Podcast Bad. I don't know if Paul can hear the audio, but the rest of you probably will have heard our intro song. Paul and I were just talking. There's an issue with music. It started roughly after 2002. And I've also noticed Ron DeSantis, who's Gen X, younger than both me and Paul, he's very early Gen X, has been dropping bangers, absolute banger posts on X lately about 60s, 70s, mostly 70s, 80s, and 90s rock. He has identified those 3 decades as the most consequential decades in popular music, going even more important than the Mozart, than the Beethoven, than the Bach. These 3 generations of music were something that just cannot be, or nobody does it anymore. It's died. It's an art that's died.
That's
It's
right.
absolutely gone.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. Now, there are some. So, my son Galen's, he's a hard rocker. He likes, as a matter of fact, dude, it's pretty epic. When he was 14, I gave him my album collection, including my 1975 TIAC turntable
Oh,
with
Oh,
with clips, reference speakers.
yes.
oh yeah.
you know,
Oh yeah.
and he texted me the other day. He goes, Dad, he goes, I got a guy that wants the turntable. It hadn't worked in a while. Do you want it back? And I said, yeah, I want it back.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
I
because I
definitely
gotta
want it
replace
back.
the belt
I
on the
bought that with my
spindle.
high school money, working in a
Yeah.
high school, man,
Well,
45
Paul, you're
years
gonna
ago.
replace the belt that snapped on the spindle to the
Yeah,
turntable, and it's gonna work like brand fucking new.
yeah.
That's
I
it.
mean, they don't even make turntables like that anymore. They sound like tinny. They're just terrible,
Tell
So,
him once he makes this mistake and gives it back to you that he can pick up a Lynn table that'll be pretty good. It won't be that good, but it'll
Yeah.
be worth something. Yeah.
yeah. So
Vic Trolla makes a table that is analog, but it's pricey. It's about $1,100.
yeah, yeah. So he's got all my old albums, Yes and Rush and, everything from George Benson to, everything, and Uriah
If he's
Heep,
a
he's
if he's a
low.
metalhead, where's the Metallica? Is he one of those
Well,
guys?
he's got Metallica,
All
and
right, all right.
he
There,
Uriah
there.
Heep is one of his favorite bands.
Oh man, I love the Kiffness. By the way, when we're talking about music, the Kiffness is the guy who used that Trump meme that said they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats of the people who live
I
there.
love that. Oh, I wish you could
Oh,
spool that up.
and
That thing is
so
epic, dude.
JC's shirt is
Yeah,
referencing the
No,
Kiffness out of South
yeah. Put
Africa.
smack on me.
Once I heard the bullshit that Harris won that debate, I said the only thing anybody's going to remember from that debate is they're eating the dogs, they're eating cats.
They're
It's
eating
the
the
only
pets of the
thing.
people that live there.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
that was the greatest pop-up meme song. I mean, that guy, he
Ever.
was already big
Yeah, he
time.
nailed it. Yeah,
He
first
nailed
try.
it.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
It was incredible. So, all right, Paul, I'll give you. There is some good artists that do shit like the Kiffness.
Yeah.
It's still not 70s, 80s, and 90s
No.
rock. It would
Right.
like when we look back on this 300 or 400 years from now, people are going to go, "Why did this 3-decade period have such different music
Yeah.
than anything
Than
else in
anything
history?"
else ever. Yeah. And there's some
I
on the
can
periphery.
you want an easy answer? It uncorked those who were otherwise unknown that had toiled in obscurity. And all of a sudden what you found out was what American Idol showed everybody else is that there's all sorts of people like Carrie Underwood, Kelly Clarkson, all the rest of that are every bit as good or better than a no talent joke like Beyonce, and they absolutely kill it. And just because the gatekeepers in Hollywood or in music are all Harvey
Right.
Weinstein perverts, there were all these people that had been trying to break in. Yeah.
Yeah. But there's
But
still some on the periphery, that are hard, that are talented. Like you look at Norma Jean, Mastodon, bands like that are, grassroots, really grinding it out and getting after it. But they still don't. They pale in comparison to 70s, 80s, and 90s.
Well, those
Bad
those guys
Company
had
and
those guys had been around
all of
forever. I mean, you saw the Eagles come back with "Hell Freezes Over," and that was probably the best work they ever did.
well, but the point, I guess, is that people who weren't even born in the 70s, 80s, and 90s all know the 70s, 80s, and 90s rock, whether it's
all of them,
soft rock or what do they
all
call
of
it,
them.
yacht rock now, or hard rock. They know
Yeah,
all of it. Like, it's not like, it
yeah,
is a staple to them as
yeah,
part of their playlist.
yeah.
And you don't see that, like, my generation, being a younger Gen X. I played that stuff, but it was also familiar to me because I was there for part of it. But I didn't. My dad's generation didn't listen to 20s, 30s, and 40s rock
Why?
No,
because
I
it
mean,
wasn't good. I mean, there was
I
good
listen.
songs. Like, don't get me wrong, there was good, catchy songs on vinyl that were produced, but they didn't have a Metallica. They didn't have a Dire Straits. They didn't have
No,
like
oh,
Led Zeppelin.
Mark
no,
Knopfler.
no. They didn't. They didn't have any of
Telegraph
that.
Road, Mark Knopfler. Are you kidding me, dude?
Oh, that guy. That guy's
I want
amazing.
to listen to the 47-minute version of that song that he did live at Wembley. I just, oh my
No,
God.
if you guys want to have a little bit of fun, there's a uh no, I don't know, probably circa 2000, Japanese concert that's been AI restored with Clapton and Knopfler and Elton John. And I mean, those guys, oh man, if there could be one concert I'd like to go and see live, that would be it. I mean,
Oh yeah,
crazy good shit. Yeah,
yeah.
crazy good.
Right. Oh,
One of
and
my favorite, one of my favorite recent YouTube videos is George Harrison's entrance into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with Prince and uh, Creedence Clearwater guy and Tom Petty and George Hamilton's son, and you know they do my guitar gently, still my guitar gently weep.
oh, dude, do you know the funny part about that story with Harrison? Called Eric Clapton into the studio because he was struggling to come up with that guitar part.
I remember that.
And,
Yeah.
and
And,
so
and
Clapton
Clapton
comes
and,
over.
and Clapton ended up with his wife.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and Clapton ended up with his wife, and he gifted Harrison. He taught him the guitar part.
right.
While my guitar gently.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
And Clapton,
all it took was
And
Clapton
Prince
playing
just ripped it up.
Harrison's
He
wife.
just ripped it on that video.
Oh, well, I don't think a lot of people understood because Prince was pop rock. How
Yeah, they didn't
good,
understand that he was a
how
guitar player.
good he could shred.
Yeah, he was an
oh, he could
axeman.
play.
Yep.
He could play. And then you got Michael. I mean, seriously, Michael was unbelievable. Especially the Quincy Jones stuff was fantastic. And I'm not a Motown guy in any way, shape, or form, but that was good music.
Though Michael was, I look.
Yeah, and I mean he
There's a reason
transcended
he was
he
the king.
transcended Motown, and then, but if we don't talk about MTV, we're missing an active ingredient and all that. I mean, that gave so much exposure to all sorts of groups that you'd never see. I mean, Joe Jackson, uh, people like what Spandau Ballet. Good
Oh
Lord,
yeah.
I mean, there are all
Yeah.
sorts of stuff.
Bad
I'd
English.
sit there
Yeah, all
transfixed.
those guys. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd
Well,
watch that
yeah,
crap.
and if you look at the Motown, not yet rap, but like Belle Biv DeVoe and Run DMC and all of that came out of
Depeche
MTV.
Mode, all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
incredible.
I mean, if Depeche Mode came out today, would they have an audience? I don't even know.
No,
No,
so
no,
they
no.
get 3 follows on TikTok.
Yeah, yeah.
Not a chance. Not a
You know,
chance.
I've got this fantasy that we'll have a cultural renaissance with what's going on now, the same way we did then. But I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen it yet.
The
No.
kids are listening to 70s, 80s, and 90s music and a little bit of 2025 music. So I think you also look at Turning Point Action with or yeah, that's the young men's group that Charlie Kirk runs.
Right.
And they're looking deep into conservatism and revolting from all of the things woke and loving 70s, 80s, and 90s rock. And I think JC that you're starting to see this. It's a revolt from what their parents were doing, which was being white liberal women, including the men.
Well, yeah. I mean, all you have to do is look at these Trump protests. I've said it before, Mr. Gant. I'll say it again. It, honest to God, to me, looks like the Methodist Church ran out of coffee and donuts, and the seniors are out foraging in the street, and holding up their anti-Trump sign because he cut them off from Dunkin', or maybe he closed Krispy Kreme or whatever, and then they're entitled to those donuts.
I can't. Look, when I see those videos, and I see 2 people in their 60s on my screen right now. I see people in their late 70s and early 80s that can't. They're hardly mobile, and they are reliving their teenage years of the 1960s,
Yeah.
protesting that, and then protesting Vietnam in the 70s. And they're just back out there like, we're doing it, Elizabeth and Margaret. We're doing it.
Yeah.
We're
Doing
doing
what?
it.
They got their
Doing
purple
what?
hair and their walkers.
Right.
Yeah.
And one of them's laying down in the middle of a street, and they painted it with sidewalk chalk. And they're like, I'm like, how are they going to get that huge bitch up off the street?
Yeah. Yeah.
I have
No,
no
And
you
then
idea.
need it.
if
Yeah,
you're
you
in
gotta have
Florida,
one of those skid steers with a adjustable bucket on it, so you can just scoop them up, put them
Well,
on the sidewalk.
Well, because when they're in Shady Oaks, they have Hoyers, medical Hoyers. Yeah, like if you've ever been around, I, I've had to deal with that with a wife, a past wife's family member who had MS, and we had to use a Hoyer to transport her from the bed to the to her mobile chair and things like that. And we had to use a Hoyer to get her in and out of a van to transport her. And that's what, and I'm not being joking here. I'm looking at this video of a very old
Yeah,
lady laying on sidewalk chalk in the middle of
yeah,
the road. And I'm like, none of these old human beings can help her up. They're going to need to strap
yeah.
her
They're all
with a
yeah, they're
Hoyer and hit the
yeah,
button to scoop her up.
yeah. They got to get an engine hoist or something.
Right. Well, basically, that's what a Hoyer is.
I, all I can say is I was stunned, and this will take a minute, but I think it's worth saying. I used to be an avid reader of the Wall Street Journal editorial page. I was a subscriber in the 90s when I lived in New York because I got to New York and I could not understand what in the world was going on. Okay. Uh, Catholic bashing, Jane Fonda, all the rest of this stuff. And I'm just like, what are these people smoking? I don't get this. This is the most beautiful part of the country, and yet I've never encountered more unhappy people. And you're not going to find fulfillment at the Paramus Mall. You're just not, okay? And yet it seemed like it was they morphed into a species called Homo economicus, where it was about them or whatever. And I mean, the people that used to babysit my son, they had a $300 house payment in Ridgewood, and they were paying 1,000 a month in taxes.
Mhm.
And I mean,
Wow.
the politicians were just trashing them. And so I decided I was going to try to figure out what was going on. And shining through that like a beacon, this is the point, was a big expose on Mike Wallace trying to build a bridge with Farrakhan. Now, a kid from St. Louis that watched 60 Minutes every Saturday or Sunday, whatever day it was on, after football, right?
After football on
Mike
Sunday, yeah.
Yeah, Mike Wallace was an icon. I mean,
Yeah.
this guy had great judgment, and the Wall Street Journal documented his pursuit of Calypso Louis because Big Mike thought that there was a bridge that needed to be repaired. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? Don't you
Yeah.
understand? He wants you dead. You're
Yeah.
a Jew. Look, and I know, Sean, Jews, I know. But I mean, his first name was Myron. Okay. And nobody ever called him that because he didn't want that. He didn't want the ethnic identity. And I get that. But what are you hoping to accomplish with that? It's the 60s coalition. And what you're seeing in these protests is that same thing. The remnant and the useless, brain dead remnant of the people that are living in the glory of the 1960s civil rights revolution, where they replaced the gospel of Jesus Christ with the gospel of social justice. That was the transformation that happened. And the culture that we live in, this ruins, is the detritus of that misguided calculation.
Well, isn't that straight out of the playbook? You could look at this two different ways. From George Orwell warning against it, or Karl Marx promoting it,
Either way.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Either
And,
way.
and I don't
He
care if you rip on the Jews with 19 O's. I don't. I just think that people use it as a convenient way to get clicks on the internet too. And I think shame on them. I think shame on everybody who gets shameless clicks.
Well, the whole we were talking about the Epstein thing the other night. It's still going. It's ridiculous. The whole thing is ridiculous. I mean, you got 400,000 kids that have been sex trafficked. You just had a idiot judge stop a plane. There you go, Paul. A plane of kids that were set to go back to their parents, who their parents requested, and that plane was on the runway ready to taxi and
Yeah.
take off. And
Yeah.
that useless bitch stopped it. All right.
Yep.
Now, how do you reconcile that with Elian Gonzalez?
Hey, Paul, real quick, because you've done some of this work, do you want to tell the listeners on the podcast how the hell these parents get talked into, or sorry, conned into selling their children?
Thank you.
So it
And that's hard, but they have no other
listen,
choice but to sell
let me
them.
tell you something. My experience has been in in Bosnia, Kosovo, Estonia, really just places where, you know, they're farming rocks. Potatoes is all they can do, and everybody's doing potatoes. That's all they can get out of the ground. It's just rocky and harsh, and
Like Ireland. Yeah.
it's just the closest thing to a third world that you can imagine. And you got two or three slicksters that come driving up in a big fancy car, and they say, "Hey, listen, We've seen your daughter around town. She's absolutely gorgeous. We're going to pay you 500 euros a week, and she'll be able to send that money home to you because we're going to make her a model, and she'll be in magazines. She'll be world famous. You can get out of this hovel that you can do, that you're living in now. And immediately, 9 times out of 10, the the little girl's going, please, daddy, please, I can help the family. And dad's going, he's listening to his heart, and then he's looking out at all those rocks and those potatoes, and he's looking at his daughter, and he goes, yeah, I mean, these guys are slicksters, man. It's not like a vacuum cleaner salesman. It's not like somebody you just shut the door and go, nah, go fuck yourself, dude. You're crazy. These guys have got game, and they come up in that big $75,000 Mercedes driving out there onto the hinterland, and that's what they do. They suck these girls up and they take them back. And in the 2 or 3 that I investigated, the gals told me that they said, you're $50,000 in debt. We bought you clothes. We housed you. We transported you from Moldavia. And so when you work that off and pay that back, then you can start sending money home.
So it's
That's how it works.
incredible how awful all of this is. And the fact that we can link that, there's evidence to link that to USAID, which I'm glad Marco Rubio keeps canceling. It's just
It's 75 to 80% funded by USAID. By
yes.
these, like you said, Sean, these rich white liberal women that fund, and purport and do all this shit. And you look them in the fucking eye. You look them right in the fucking eye, and you say, this 16-year-old girl's been trafficked. She's been fucked over 100 fucking times. She's had shit put into her that you would never imagine. And you want that to be okay against, well, these guys are illegal aliens. We're not going to deport them. They have rights too. No, no, no. I got Claymore minds that disagree with you.
I think Paul just had his breakthrough, Alex Jones style. I'm gonna tell you to go fuck yourself moment on a podcast. And dude, listen, I think me and JC are on the same boat with you on the fact that the amount of evil that comes out of liberal white women to destroy the West, and that's all they're trying to do. They want to destroy the West. But they don't know the end game. The end game is they all end up in burqas and are beaten daily.
Dude, let me tell you, and I've told you this before, Sean. You might not know this story, JC, but we were in a little town called Doboj in the Republic of Srpska in northern Bosnia. And we were working with local law enforcement, training them and stuff after the Bosnian War. And so we had we had set up adjacent to the police station. We had our own equivalent of a desk sergeant, taking reports and, things like that around the community and stuff. And this little gal, she comes walking in with her arm broken between her elbow and her shoulder, and she's bawling. And our desk sergeant was he was a jailer at the Bexar County Jail in San Antonio, and he absolutely lost his shit. He had never seen anything like that in his life. He didn't know what to do. I was the commander at the time. He called me. He said, "You got to come down here. This gal's just rattling off, and I don't know what it is." So I grabbed Tanya. She was my interpreter, and we go down to the station. And Tanya's like, "She's not speaking Serb. I think it's Russian or something, but I'm only getting about every third word. I don't know what it is." So we finally figure out that she was at a house in this town with about 14 other girls. And she had jumped out the second floor window.
How she got hurt?
Yeah, that's how she
Wow.
broke her arm.
Yeah.
And so, being a cape and a mask guy, I saddled up two or three Americans, two or three British guys, and we jump in our UN trucks and we go hauling ass down to this house. And we, for lack of a better term, we executed a search warrant on the premises.
I
And
hope you executed more than that.
well, the pimps weren't there. Nobody was there. They were all locked in the house.
Good Lord.
The pimps were gone. They were out at the nightclub, but the girls were all locked in. Not only were the front door locked from the outside, but all the individual bedrooms were locked from the outside.
Jesus.
So we busted down the doors, kicked them all in. And here's the thing that broke my heart was out of these 14 girls, about 7 of them said, "Man, you don't know how I live back home. I don't have glass in my windows. We don't eat every day. If I got to suck a little dick to have me a VCR and a television and a bed, I'm good with it. I'm good with it." So we rescued some of them, but not all of them.
No.
Incredible.
And what was terrible was the UN said you had no business doing that. You had no business breaking into that house. This is outside of the mandate. You're going to get court-martialed. You're going to, all this kind of shit, And finally, the State Department came in at least for the American guys. The State Department swooped in and said, "Nah, you're going to leave our boys alone." They were doing the right thing. But yeah.
But not on orders of the State Department.
Yeah,
because
that's exactly right.
They knew. That's
because
right.
all of us, JC, all of us came out of pocket with our own money to buy those girls' bus tickets to get back to their homes because nobody gave a shit. Nobody
And of course
officially gave a shit.
and of course there was no DEI judge to order them back into the brothel.
Right.
No, Paul. I mean, and the fact is that just let me take a broadside at our heroes, the Republicans, who once Trump won, they took the rest of the year off. That's where these fucking judges came from. They were not manning the ramparts. These were the worst of the worst. These district judges were rammed through after the election, and the Republicans basically stood down. Thune and
Yep.
McConnell,
Like they
and
always
they
do.
got in. We stopped a few of them, but I mean the majority of them got in, and they're all rendering these decisions now.
Yep.
And of
People,
course they're still.
it just
Let me move.
people wonder why I'm on PTSD medicine and I get fucked up about
just
Yeah,
disgusting.
look, listen, bourbon's the reason and the answer, and do that in your cigars daily, and I'm prescribing that to you, and I'm not even a doctor. So I want to move on. We can go down this road every day, all day. We can bring detailed stories. We can give you proof of all of this stuff happening. But I wanna move to this, Paul. I saw something interesting out of President Trump. He requested Congress to activate Army for Chicago, and that's not where I'm going. And then he brought in US Marshals. This is what I've been looking for since the start of Trump policing cities. He brought in US
Yes,
Marshals to DC, which are trained law enforcement officers.
that's
And I've
correct.
been asking you for how long has he been president? 6, 7 months?
Yep,
When is he going to hire a massive amount of US Marshals to
that's what he
get
needs
Now,
to
crime under
do.
control?
Yep.
now,
So there are 7 federal law enforcement training centers throughout the U.S., and they operate 24/7. Uh, one of the contracts we have is for role players at the FLETC, which is Federal Law Enforcement Training Center in Glencoe, Georgia. But they got them in Kansas, they got them, in Utah, they got them. There's 7 of them all over the country. He could absolutely max out their ability, their capability, and just run hundreds a month and get them certified and get them out on the street. It would be an easy thing to do. And I'm telling you, especially in the South, where even to this day, deputy sheriffs and city policemen in Lafayette, Louisiana are making $14 an hour. They would sign up in a minute to be a U.S. Marshal, and they're already trained.
Right. Well, and the thing that we had a problem with National Guard was it wasn't that they were going to defend federal buildings. It was that they had zero tr-
They have no law
training in
enforcement training
they
civil
there.
don't know how
rights.
to do
Yeah,
it. Right.
They don't
yeah,
know people's civil rights. All they know how to
right.
do is either stand in a line or break shit. And they're
Yeah, they're
very
soldiers.
fucking good at breaking shit.
Yeah,
Very good at it. And we don't want to break Americans who have civil liberties and rights. That's why you and I have been talking for a long time about this, about
yep,
needing a police force at a federal level when the state fails to protect its citizens.
yeah,
And I saw this move today by Trump, and I was like, we need to like quadruple down on this shit and
yeah,
just start deputizing sheriffs into the federal marshal service.
yep,
It's disgusting to me. One of the things that I heard throughout COVID was constitutional sheriffs, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that. And I got news for you.
What was that
Nah,
dude's name? Joseph Ria? It was like he was a big account. He got real rich off of
yeah.
people who believed him.
That's a bunch of bullshit. And the fact is, you saw in Uvalde with the school thing, and
oh yeah,
guys standing outside the door of the classroom, holding their dicks for 55 minutes. What a fucking disgrace. Sorry. I mean, back the blue, sure. I mean, I'm obviously pro law enforcement, but my God, you guys, I mean the Parkland thing, I mean, obviously every single state in the union, and I'm not a DeSantard lover in any way, shape, or form, but I would love to see these Hamas people get run over by cars everywhere. It should be legal if they're going to try to impede traffic. You just run them over, because they got no business out on an interstate highway. I'm sorry, you should not be out there. You absolutely should not be. You have no right to impede traffic or to glue yourself to the sidewalk or any shit like that. No, you
yep,
don't. Okay, people
yep,
have to get to
100%.
work. Go ahead, Paul.
I, you, the
I
other
just,
thing is
yeah,
so man, I got thoughts on Parkland and Uvalde and places like that because here's I'm just speaking in general terms, right?
yeah,
In Florida, we had school resource officers. Generally speaking, a school resource officer was a 20 plus year veteran who had slowed down, couldn't really, keep up on the streets,
Right.
Sure.
doing day-to-day calls
That's what
and
you're
fist
doing for
fighting
your last
people and
3
taking
years
people
of
to
your.
jail and all that shit. So what they do with a guy like that, he's a good guy, worked hard, he's dedicated to the agency
Yeah.
and his community. They make him a school resource officer until there's a live fire shooting exercise, and then he's like, "I'm going to save my pension. I, uh,
Yeah.
I'm not opening
Scott
that door."
Peterson. He
Wait,
took
wait,
a
wait,
Yeah,
wait, wait,
position.
wait,
Yeah,
Paul.
yeah.
Wait, hold on, Paul. Is that like I get that you send a 17 or 18-year cop to be an SRO, but is that really they're like I'm just gonna that was the mentality. I'm going to save my pension as opposed to save children. Is
yeah,
that what your read was?
yeah, because
Holy
they're
shit.
old, and so and I can only speak,
Why
Florida
would
and
they not
Texas.
get their pension if they went in and got the bad guys?
They would get their pension, but they're not taking the risk of getting shot because they don't have height, weight. Once you get over 18 or 20 years, they no longer enforce the height, weight, physical fitness. They let you slide.
Okay.
And so you got a guy that's 5'10, 260. He's out of breath. And he's like, oh, hell no. Hell no. I'm not going in there and doing that.
Well, that explains why they all sat around and waited for the Bortek guy in Uvalde to come in
That's
and do.
exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the Uvalde guys all were making 10, 11 bucks an hour. And they're like, nope, we're not doing that.
Dude, but we got to look at something in personalities and psychology. You're what, 6,800 million years old. You would have barreled straight in to save kids. Why didn't they?
Did I tell you what happened at the Red Rooster Ice House the other day?
No.
No.
So I'm 68 years old. I'm sitting at the bar with my golf buddy. We're having a couple of beers. And there's a young guy, and he's eyeballing one of the locals. And he's 75 and 270 pounds. And a local, he's an AC HVAC contract.
Yeah,
He's got his
sure.
own HVAC business.
Yeah, we know the time.
Yeah. So he's like, are you fucking eyeballing me, man? Are you mugging me? And the young guy's like, listen, dude, you've been staring at me, and so all of us decided he wasn't right in the head. There's something wrong with him. And he had sat there and had like 4 or 5 pretty
Yeah.
strong drinks in a row. And so they get in this big shouting match. And they both get up and they both walk, across the bar. They're disrupting the whole restaurant and bar. And I happen to be friends with the bar owner. And all of a sudden, my cape and my mask came on. And I went out there and I snatched that boy up and I said, you need to get on your motherfucking motorcycle and get out of here, or I'm going to stomp a goddamn mud hole in you. You hear me?
uh,
And he goes, I didn't do nothing. I said, well,
I
then
don't
you're
give a
going to get your
shit.
ass kicked for absolutely nothing. But
Well,
you're going to get on your motorcycle and you're going to leave.
this is your
Trust
best
me. Yeah.
option. This is your best
And so
option.
Yeah, you
I
got
still
you
got
got a
it in
chance
me.
to get
It's
out of
still
here
in,
alive, right? Yeah.
yeah, I'm still a cape and a mask guy, even though I'm fat and 68 years old and out of, I'm trying to catch my breath while I'm kicking his ass. And so he goes out and gets on his motorcycle. I looked at my buddy and I said, in about 5 or 6 minutes, you're going to see an ambulance come by. And I swear to God, about 6 or 7 minutes later, an ambulance went by. He had run that bike up off the road and hit a tree, and and he was all he was all jacked.
Mm.
You know what though? He'd have been a lot worse off if he'd have been curb stomped. So that was probably better for him as to hit the
Yeah,
tree.
it really was. Yeah, and my wife's like, "You have got to stop.
No,
You
no,
have
you can't
got
I,
to
stop.
I
fucking
can't.
stop."
I was
You can't
born,
stop.
raised, and did my
Yeah,
whole career to curb stomp bad guys. I
yeah,
Yeah.
can't
that's
stop,
what I do.
right?
You know, I can
I
change
mean,
oil.
you're obviously not Canadian.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, he just side note, this is an inside joke because the people watching won't understand what I'm talking about. JC, he texted me or and called me actually and said, "Hey, can we do Tuesday or Wednesday next week for a special guest?" And I said, "Fuck yeah, let's go."
All
So
right.
we're good. Everything's good,
Okay.
brother.
No, I mean,
Everything's good.
I'm seeing him not here, and I'm wondering if he's butthurt or whatever. So
No,
yeah. Anyway.
no, dude. I have the evidence.
Okay. Okay.
He's
I'll
actually
take.
making contacts for the podcast
All
to
right.
bring on. It's a pretty big
Some of
account.
his hotties, like from New Zealand, and that.
Uh,
Yeah.
it, well, it's a dude. It's a dude for sure, and he's from Florida. That might be his type.
The Hooters
Yeah,
girls
right.
from the group chat. Yeah.
Yeah, no. This is definitely a dude from Florida, and I don't know
All
if
right.
that's his type. It might be his type. Look, I'm not here to judge. Only God can judge you for whatever your type
I'm
is.
just ready to pick him up for the border in case he declares independence. That's fine.
No
I got
kidding.
it. Yeah.
Oh my god, dude!
Hey,
Did you?
I got to tell you guys something. One thing about getting old is you can't hold your bladder like you used to. I'm going to take a bio break. I'll be right back.
All
All
right.
right.
So Keir Starmer.
Oh,
No,
please.
no. Mark Circus Carney posted today in the one of his top cop said, "Hey, if you get invaded in your house, you should just leave and let them take it." And I'm watching X. That's my favorite social media app. I'm on
Oh,
all of
yeah.
them, and
There is no other. Yeah.
people are like, "Wait, what? You took our guns away in Canada." And then now you want the Muslims to invade our houses and take them from us. Where do you go? This is the question they were asking. Where do you go when they take you, Canadian leadership? Because they're going to take you, and you don't see that.
Well, no, they're going to demand that you submit to Islam.
Yeah, but the
Yeah.
Canadian leadership believes they will be freed from that by giving the Islam, the Muslims, the all of this freedom. They believe that they're just going to be friendly, and they're going to be like, "Yeah, you can still be the prime minister, you can still be the governor, you can still be the mayor." None of that's true.
No, of
They
course not.
will conquer. If you look at history, they conquer everything. And the reason they were so small and tiny for most of their history is because Christian worlds fought them back and drove them back into the desert. Now
Charles
they're getting invited in.
Charles Martel, the Battle of Tours, back when France still would fight. The Field of the Blackbirds. I mean, we've frustrated the Serbians from time to. They're more aligned with Russia than they are with us because they realize Russia will fight. But you know, the Serbs repelled the Islamists at the Field of the Blackbirds. I mean, that is an absolute historical fact. And you know, you talk about Western women. They simply do not understand that the command is to submit to Islam or die or lose your head or be raped or kill the infidel. I mean, that's in their damn book. They don't make a secret of it. and yet, oh, that won't happen here. I'm like, you think not? Really? I
It's
mean,
absolutely.
how many times does someone need to get their head cut off before you realize it might be you?
I
The hell is
never
wrong?
watched that video. I didn't choose to watch that video, but that recent video of that happening to two girls.
Oh,
Holy crap, white liberal women from all of the West. You do not understand that this is coming to you. They have
listen,
no value for women. None.
That's what
that little
upsets
girl is the
Tanya so much.
Scottish Joan of Arc. I mean, that little girl is a friggin' hero. I mean, she's William Wallace. I mean, the guys in Scotland don't have enough balls to do anything, but she's ready to fight, man.
They can't. They've
That's what Tanya, that's what bothers her so much about the way the state of America right now. She said, I've lived this shit. I've seen it. I've
Yeah.
seen the division. I was born in Yugoslavia and I watched my country get blown apart because of ideologues and Muslims and separating it into 5 or 6 different, you know, things. And she says, "You guys don't understand. The- You're doing the same fucking thing, man. You're doing the same fucking
well,
thing."
I gotta like you gotta look at the U.S. State Department because I blame them for all kinds of
Oh,
shit and wonder.
well, no,
I really,
you can't
Paul,
blame them enough.
Paul, I really wonder why they helped the Muslims break up all of that area of Europe.
I
And
can tell you.
please do.
So, so the main reason was this 70s and 80s Cold War think about surrounding the USSR. So the Clinton administration had gone to Serbia and said, we want to build a base in Serbia as our continuation around, Georgia, Armenia, Ukraine to finish surrounding them, the USSR or Russia. And the
Well,
Serbs
Always
said,
been.
yeah,
Russia at the time, yes, the wall
yeah.
had
So the
fell.
Serbs said, there ain't no fucking way, dude. So this Muslim enclave that are mostly Albanian that live in Kosovo, they said, we'll do it. What's in it for us? And they said, well, we'll make you rich beyond your wildest dreams. We'll just give you buckets full of money. And so now the third largest military installation outside of the United States is Camp Bombsteel in Kosovo, which, by the way, JC, butts up to the field of blackbirds.
Yeah.
And
Is there a
so,
no, no, I'm sorry, Paul, go ahead. But I do have a question.
yeah, so, and so that started the separation. Madeleine Albright just
Madeline
pushed
Halfbright.
and
Yeah.
pushed and pushed and pushed and she buddied up to the Muslims who would do whatever she said because they were uh, motivated by money. And the Clinton administration said, "We got bucket loads of money. We got money." And the Serbs said, "Hey, you don't want to go down this road, bro. You don't, because like JC said, the Serbs were aligned with Russia."
What? All right.
By
Well,
the
I
way,
gotta.
I just
Whoa.
Wait. Let me interject something. This is recent history.
There is nothing wrong with Russia. If Russia was allowed to play on the field with the West, they would be friendly. They have been trying to do so ever since the Gulf
They
War.
only want trade.
All
Yeah,
they want to do is get rich like Americans do. That's
yeah.
all they want. And I don't understand the opposition. If you want to be pissed at somebody, Be pissed at China for stealing all our intellectual property. Why the fuck are you mad at Russia? Just let them in on the game. Am I wrong, JC?
No, I think you're 100% right. But I can answer your question. We've talked about it before. It links back to what Paul and I talked about last time, which the Cold War mentality involved with these guys doing all this crap in Australia when the theater is up in the South China Sea, thinking that if you're 5 months away, you're still in the game, but you're not. Okay, but no. Listen, you talk about turntables. I mean, these guys are like close and play. Russia bad, Russia bad, Russia bad. And that all comes from British influence. And I've gone from being listen, I'll acknowledge the great influence that the Anglos have had on their colonies and their Commonwealth and everything else, weights and measures, modern economies, trade, shipping, all that, all great, all great. But they've got this phobia about Russia as an adversary, and it soaks up all of their brain space, and the whole progressive movement was the idea to co-opt American talent and power to make sure you had enough to fight off Russia. And they won't let it go.
Right.
They won't. And we're still not honest about what's actually going on. Why do we have these suppositions about Russia? It's insane. All right. And whereas Nixon peeled off China to balance Russia back then, and they all love that. Now the strategic play is to peel off Russia to oppose China, and we're not going to be able to do it without getting rid of European influence altogether. And I mean, they're the big losers. It's obvious right now in this fourth turning, Europe is the odd man out. And in a way they know it. But the whole progressive movement, Fabian socialism, the progressive era, all the social ills that we have right now are a direct result of the people who influenced Victoria Nuland.
Victoria Newland's my arch enemy number one. Like if I'm
Oh,
gonna write
she's
a
so
book, I'm gonna
gross.
write it about her. But let me tell you something that I truly believe. If you could make Russia friendly economically and defensive, I'm not talking about NATO or UN, uh,
Please don't.
to
Yeah, that
to
shit sucks.
just the United States. Just make them friendly to us. Get an
Right.
economic and a military security agreement to them. China fails in 5 years. 5 years,
Yes.
100%.
they're done.
Yes.
100%.
They're
You're
done.
dead spot on. Yep.
100%. 100%. Panama Canal to Greenland, northern Canada, the whole thing. I mean, Fortress Americas. That's the
Right?
idea, and Russia's included. I mean, they'll help us. They
They
will.
absolutely will help us.
Yeah.
And no, but I don't get
It's in their
why.
best interest to help us.
Yeah, it
You know?
absolutely is. I mean, because they've got land and resources they don't have. They've been restricted by post Cold War America
Yes.
to
Yeah.
grow. If we just turned that tap off and said, "Hey, we would really like to trade tech with you,"
Yeah.
and make some fucking amazing drones so we can go kill people in Venezuela that are making cocaine. Let's
Yeah.
do it. And then, oh, by the
Sean.
way, can you guys give us more McDonald's? Because our people
Yeah.
love
That's what
McDonald's.
they want. That's what Putin
And
wants. He wants trade. The reason he's trading with China and India is because he can't get a deal with us. He would much rather deal with us. And I'll tell you something else about Serbia. Putin went to Serbia, to Belgrade, and said, "Hey, you guys are doing too much trade. You're selling ammunition to the enemies of Russia."
Mhm.
right.
And Serbia said, "We're the number one producer of ammunition in Europe, period. And we're going to sell to the customer that buys the most. It doesn't
Who
matter
pays?
what country.
Yeah.
You need to understand that, dude, because that's how we pay our taxes and stuff. And Putin said, "Yeah, I didn't realize that." Okay.
Well,
Well,
we've got what we're talking about. What we're talking about is not something that's talked about on many podcasts. But this is
we're resetting the globe with
it's a
the
heavy
proper
lift.
power.
Yeah, you've got to reorient thinking. And, Battle Axe doesn't do Victoria Newland justice. There has to be a term that's
Oh,
beyond Battle
oh
Axe.
yeah. She's a bleeding heart liberal, bedwetting communist cocksucker.
A fucking Trotskyist is what she is. And,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
You're my boy, man. I love you so
Well,
much.
I love you
Again,
too, brother.
I'm just gonna point out that we don't need NATO. I mean, obviously, for we could get into all the reasons that the wall
No,
fell,
I'd leave
USSR,
NATO
but
tomorrow.
but we don't need the UN. We don't need anything. But we
No.
do probably would be benefited by security pacts, and I think El Salvador, Hungary, the
Poland.
Russia,
Poland.
Poland would be great partners as a world dominating defense compact.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
it. Nobody else. Everybody else can beg to get into it.
I mean,
Well,
you
I
can
don't
play
know if you
footsie.
boys
You can
know
play
this.
footsie with Australia, but that's not where the action is.
Fuck
Like Paul was saying,
Australia. They're
that's
fucking
forgotten. Yeah.
Australia's pinko commies.
Well, hold on a minute before you say all that. All of the defense money, 75% of it is going to Indo-PACOM.
All right.
I
Well,
get it. I get
India's
it.
the
Okay,
wild
so
card. Hey,
Paul,
Sean,
I'll give you South Korea too.
India's the wild card here. I think we really need India.
For what? Like airfields?
Just to encircle
Or
China.
just so they could build more call centers to tell me about my car's extended warranty.
No, I actually think they're a valuable ally. I do.
All right.
That's a lot of folks. That's a big market. Now, admittedly they don't have great sanitation. I understand.
Oh, but their call centers are incredible. They're incredible. I mean, I get at least 9 calls a day from them about my
Yeah, I
car's
bet you
extended
do. I
warranty.
get a lot of that shit too. Yeah.
Just- n- okay, so wait. What value could India, who the government has a shit ton of money and everybody else is fucking poor, provide to the West?
I think trade agreements. I mean, I honestly think that they'd be a good trading partner, and they're a modern economy. They've
Yeah,
got the
they are.
Anglo, no, they've got the Anglo history, and we're not talking about Africa here. Africa is a lost cause. You know that they just want to be what they're going to be, and we're not talking about the Middle East. India's a wild card. I think of India the same way that the State Department always thought about Iran, that Iran was going to be like super important, and I don't think so. I think if you've got India, I don't think Iran matters.
If you take the chip sector out of India, so and most of that would be from the American company Apple. I don't think India has anything to provide except for 1.2 billion human beings.
Consumers,
Yeah, they could
you
be
got to have a place to
consumers.
sell shit.
They
Yeah,
no. You're right. They could be consumers, but they're selling us. We're not buying anything. All of our Foxconn Apple products come out of other parts of Asia.
they
We
have
really haven't
listen.
moved into India yet.
They have Sean. You're talking to a pharmacist now. And everybody keeps talking about raw materials, pharmaceutical ingredients from China. India's got a pharmaceutical industry too. Remember, they're a Western economy. They can help us. I mean, they're like Puerto Rico but they've actually got capacity. You know, the big pharma abused Puerto Rico for a long time with some crazy tax advantage or something like that, but that was never going to meet the needs of a Western economy. But India's got a real pharmaceutical industry. In fact, you know, I hope the Missouri Pharmacy Board isn't listening, but I'm a regular customer of Indian pharmaceuticals.
Okay.
That's where the stuff you guys got came
Sure.
from. Yeah.
Well, I don't think
How do
any
you
of
think
us.
I can do that? I sure as hell ain't going down to Walgreens and getting that.
What Walgreens isn't even a American-owned company anymore. Greg
Of course, no,
Wass
that's British. They're
Greg
done. Yeah,
Wasson totally fucked that company.
no, they're done.
When he became the CEO 15 or 16 years ago, and he sold it to Boots Alliance UK,
Yeah,
and they're not even American anymore. And if you listen, I will tell you because I walk into it sometimes to get my mom's prescriptions, and I worked as a manager of Walgreens for a decade.
I'm
I
sorry.
walk in, I see bears. Well, no, we used to have full shelves, lots of customers, friendly interactions, super weirdos that we would have to call the police on. Like we had all the fun. Now, when I walk into a Walgreens, it's Boots Alliance UK. If you look at their
They're they're
licensing,
my number one. They're my number one stock to short. I don't
yes,
think you can miss.
dude,
Yeah, I don't think you
they
can
went
miss.
from a $140 billion company to an $11 billion company because
Yeah,
of Greg Wasson selling it to Boots Alliance UK, which is a national farm, or sorry, a global pharmacy, which is in China, England, and now the United States, of course, with 7,500 stores of theirs. You walk in, there is no employees. There might be one,
no, no, you can't
maybe
get anybody to help
two,
you.
and like everything, and like it's all like Greg Wasson made $145 million off that sale, and he's just gone into being a social media influencer. That
Yeah. You know
dickhead.
what, Scott Gottlieb, that piece of crap is an old Walgreens guy too.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no, they're dirtbags. They're absolute scum of the earth. And
Did
I
you
used to
know
be
that
in
they
industry
wouldn't let?
meetings with those jackoffs. Anyway, all right.
Well, no. Did
By
you
the
know
way,
that
I want to.
they wouldn't let Kevin Wasson, the grandson of Walgreen, Kevin Walgreen. They wouldn't let the grandson of Walgreen even be on the board of directors while they were making this change.
Shit, that sounds like the British royal family there. By the way,
Uh,
I want to say something. I want to say something nice about Paul. I mean, obviously, I admire him greatly, but his facial expressions with some of the stuff that I say. I know nobody else talks like I do, but I just want to give him the love back. I mean, honest to God, I love listening to him.
I get
He
you,
tells me
bro.
something. I can't. I listen. I can't wait for an hour with Paul, and that doesn't mean I don't like you, Sean. But this dude is a treasure. All right.
I
uh,
understand you completely when you when you communicate.
I got to close this
Last
one
night, dude,
out.
you said some funny shit, and everybody's just talking regular, and I had lost my shit. I just lost it. It was
Well, listen,
I'm worried.
listen.
I was worried that I might have scared away the Canuck. Anyway,
Mm-mm.
I mean
We gotta close this
group
fucker
chat,
out. We
our
gotta
group
close this
chat
fucker
king.
out.
Yeah.
We gotta go. Holy shit, you guys are funny.
loved it.
What's up, guys?
Just out of curiosity, I got a new microphone. Did you guys know?
Oh yeah, audio
Okay.
loud and clear. Even Charlie.